Greatness doesn't always come with a spotlight. Sometimes it's born in silence, in shadows, in the most unexpected places. This is the story of a quiet boy from a small village on the outskirts of Benin City, a boy whose name was Ose.
Quick one, like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Today's story will move you.
A name now spoken with awe, respect, and gratitude across every corner of his land. But before the world called him Captain Breeze, he was just Ose. Ose grew up in the rural heartbeat of Nigeria, in a village where chickens crowed louder than radios, where sunsets kissed the red earth, and life moved to the rhythm of the seasons. He was a simple boy, quiet, observant, and distant. Not the kind of child that played in groups or chased kites through the dusty streets. No, Ose was different. During school holidays, he visited his uncle in the city. Those trips opened his eyes to a whole new world, one filled with bright lights, fast cars, and more importantly, superheroes. He fell in love with them. Spider-Man, Superman, Captain America, the Incredible Hulk. These were not just characters to him. They were possibilities. They stood for something. They protected. They fought injustice. And deep down, young Ose believed maybe he could become like them. But unlike the superheroes in movies, Ose had no radioactive spider, no serum, no high-tech lab. All he had was his will. Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. Abraham Lincoln. From a young age, Ose began to train himself, not with fancy equipment, but with the rugged terrain of his village. He would jog to the farm every morning, dash down the steep hill to the river, and climb back, often with heavy loads balanced on his head. His body adapted. His muscles hardened. His endurance grew. Then one day, something happened that shook the village. Ose had been underwater for minutes. People panicked. "He's gone," they cried. The river had claimed him, they thought. But then, just as hope was fading, he emerged, calm as ever, gasping, but unshaken. From that day, people whispered about the boy who breathed like a fish and moved like a shadow. But Ose kept to himself. No friends, no companions, no distractions, just focus. He started small, 2 10-liter water cans jogging down the hill and back again with them filled. Day after day, month after month, his arms became like stone, his legs like tree trunks. The villagers began to notice. "That boy no be ordinary again, oh," one old man would mutter, squinting at Ose from his bench. His physique became powerful, yet he was always calm, polite, unshaken, like a storm waiting to happen. By the time he turned 18, Ose had become a skilled hunter, bringing down antelopes and bush pigs with ease. But more than muscle, he had honed his senses. He could hear a twig snap from hundreds of meters away. He could smell smoke before the fire appeared. His eyes could spot movement in the thickest bushes. And then he created the costume. It was simple, yet striking. A dark costume made from cloth and leather, stitched by hand, with a mask that concealed everything but his determined eyes. On the chest, one word was boldly painted: Captain Breeze. He kept it in his backpack, hidden, waiting, until one day, fate gave him a reason to wear it.
Hey, if you're enjoying this story so far, please hit that like button. It helps more people discover these stories. And don't forget to subscribe and tap the notification bell so you don't miss the next twist, the next chapter, or the next adventure waiting for you here. All right, let's continue.
He crouched low, listened, and heard faint cries for help. Something wasn't right. Silently, he moved through the bush toward the village road, and there he saw them. 3 armed men, dragging a villager toward a car. Without a word, Ose ducked into the trees, changed into his costume, and in a blur of movement, descended on the attackers like a whirlwind. Before they knew what hit them, they were disarmed, groaning on the floor, their weapons scattered. "Call the police," Captain Breeze told the victim calmly, tying the kidnappers with vines. And just as the man turned to ask him who he was, he vanished into the forest. That was the birth of the legend. More robberies began to fail. Thieves would be mysteriously found tied to trees. Missing children were returned home without a scratch. Stolen goods reappeared at villagers' doors overnight. Who was behind this? The whispers began. Captain Breeze. No one had ever seen his face. Some thought he was a ghost. Others swore he flew. But no matter what people believed, they all felt safe. For years, peace returned to the region. Crime dropped. People slept better. And somewhere in the village, a young man named Ose continued his daily routines quietly, unnoticed. He never spoke of his secret, never sought reward. He didn't need praise. A true hero doesn't wear a crown. He carries a burden. But every mask must come off someday. It happened during a rescue mission. A young boy had been kidnapped by a ritualist deep in the forest. Captain Breeze, as always, tracked them, fought, and rescued the child. As he brought the boy home, villagers gathered, cheering, crying, overwhelmed with joy. But just as he knelt to hand the boy over to his mother, the boy tugged on his mask. Off it came. A stunned silence fell. Gasps echoed. It was Ose, the quiet boy, the loner, the jogger, the hunter. Everyone stared. Some wept. Even the king arrived in person wanting to thank him. But Ose, overwhelmed, ran. He locked himself in his room for days. The attention, the gifts, the praise. It wasn't what he wanted. He just wanted peace. But peace this time brought responsibility. The village elders gathered. They had one request. Ose, train others. Let Captain Breeze not be the end. Let him be the beginning. And so, for the first time, Ose accepted help. He removed his mask, but not his mission. He began to train young boys, not just in strength, but in discipline, in courage, and in compassion. He taught them that being strong meant protecting the weak, and that a true hero doesn't need an audience, just a heart that refuses to ignore injustice. Ose was no longer alone. Captain Breeze became a movement, and the wind of justice continued to blow through the land. You don't need superpowers to be a superhero. You just need courage and a cause. So, the next time you doubt yourself, remember Ose, the boy who trained in silence, walked alone, and saved many without asking for anything in return. He didn't wait to be chosen. He chose himself. And that, dear viewer, is the story of Captain Breeze.
Thank you for journeying with me through this story. Every tale we share here isn't just entertainment. It carries lessons, emotions, and moments we can all connect with. If today's episode moved you, inspired you, or even left you thinking, please hit that like button. It helps spread these stories to more people who need to hear them. And if you haven't already, subscribe and tap the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss the next twist, the next adventure, or the next lesson hidden in these stories. I also want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What part touched you most? What do you think should happen next? Your voice helps shape the stories we tell here. And finally, share this video with someone you care about. A story can heal, inspire, or change the way someone sees the world. Thank you for being part of this family of storytellers. Until the next chapter, stay inspired, stay curious, and keep the story alive.